Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good day, Mr. Chairman. It's Enrico Occhipinti speaking, and also on behalf of Daniela Colombini, I will present the paper regarding the validation of the OCRA checklist score as predictive of the occurrence of upper limb musculoskeletal disorders in workers exposed to manual repetitive tasks. Some premises that say that the OCRA method analyzes the occupational biomechanical overload of the upper limbs, considering in an integrated way the main risk factors such as frequency of action, use of force, awkward posture and movements, lack of recovery periods, several additional factors, and all is considered regarding in accordance to their duration. And the OCRA method consists of two tools, the OCRA index and the OCRA checklist. The index is more detailed and was chosen as the reference risk assessment method by international standards relating to high frequency repetitive manual work. And the OCRA checklist is the simpler one and is used for the initial screening of workstation, as also suggested by the ISO 11228 Part 3 and also by a specific technical ISO technical report. The way the OCRA checklist final score is computed is the following: adding the partial score for frequency, force, posture, and additional factor, and weighting this sum up by two multipliers regarding the distribution and presence of breaks and the duration, daily duration of repetitive task. The OCRA checklist values are integrated according to the OCRA values in classifying the exposure from green, yellow, red, low, medium, and high. And up to now, we also, by the OCRA index, could forecast the expected prevalence of affected subjects by one or more clinically diagnosed upper limb musculoskeletal disorders that we call PA by this general equation that was set up in 2004. And given the strict relation between the OCRA checklist score and the OCRA index, we indirectly estimating the expected PA based on the checklist score. Now, the aim of this presentation is to define more accurate forecasting models for the expected prevalence of upper limb musculoskeletal disorders based directly on the OCRA checklist score. And the secondary aim is to update some of the key values of the OCRA checklist classification, especially for better differentiating red light and red medium areas. For that purpose, we use the database concerning more than 11,000 workers aggregated into 30 groups, featuring different exposure level and with different prevalences of workers affected by one or more upper limb disorders clinically diagnosed. Obviously, when you have two numeric variables, the first thing is to see if there is a good association between the two variables, and we found that there was a good association between the OCRA checklist and PA, expressed by a simple linear regression function that you see in the slide. And this function showed a high association between the two variables with an adjusted error square of 0.87 and very, very significantly statistically very significant. So this linear model could be used for estimating within definite limits the expected prevalence of subjects with upper limb musculoskeletal disorder clinically diagnosed in the in a future, that means some years, given the actual OCRA checklist score. Just to see if you obtain an OCRA checklist score of 14, you may forecast that your population will be affected starting from 8.8 to 12 with the mean values of T10.4 by one or more upper limb disorders. And to go to the second scope of our presentation, we intended to look at the groups of exposed by the traditional classification and to see if there was a progression passing from the green to the red high condition. And this progression was computed with the prevalence of ratio of the different level of exposed groups with respect to the non-exposed or low exposed group. However, as a first attempt, we reported the percentage of affected person in the different group, and you see there was no a clear progression between yellow and red light. So to solve this problem, we grouped together the red light and red medium exposed group and apply for the prevalence of ratio of the different group with reference to the green or low exposed group and obtain the satisfactory progression, also considering the lower confidence limits of the prevalence of this ratio. This could be satisfying for us, but essentially we want to better discriminating a low from a medium exposure, and to do that we used the model that was used for classifying the key values of the OCRA index. This is a paper of 2007. Substantially with the same model, but using the new equation relating to the OCRA checklist score. Briefly, we found that all the traditional K value for the classification of the OCRA checklist were confirmed, except from in the passage from low and red low and red medium, where a score of 16 was preferable. And so we reaggregate the groups according to this new idea with the cutoff between red light and red medium of 16, and recomputed again the prevalence of score, the prevalence of the ratios with their confidence limits for the different groups level of exposure, obtaining a clear progression of the prevalence of the ratio, except for the higher exposure, where, however, an healthy worker effect can be supposed. So we can go to the conclusion that the OCRA checklist has shown a high association with the occurrence of upper limb musculoskeletal disorders in exposed population. So the final OCRA checklist score is a good predictor within definite limits of the expected occurrence of upper limb musculoskeletal disorder in this population, and can be used now. The predictive model can be used now directly, and there is no need of intermediation with the OCRA index classification system. You may use the equation that you see in the slide, but pay attention to values over 22.5, where the predictive model could be a little bit less accurate. And the second conclusion is that the OCRA classification system is substantially confirmed, but the only relevant exception is that the red light zone and the red medium zone are divided by a score of 16, and this should be used now to from here in the future to classify the OCRA checklist result. And that's all. Thank you very much.